Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Radical Geek Sunday night coffee talk. I see Rancan Cook has joined us, Stacy's joined us, and Jujubee's here. So hopefully everyone else will be catching up with us in a few. Oh, and hey, Dunwood21. Hey, Renee, nice to see you. So Happy New Year's, everyone. I'm sure other people will be joining us in a moment, but I kind of want to get things started, and I promised us a recipe, and I'll be honest with you, it's still almost there. I tested it a lot this week, and every time it seems to be a little bit different. So, but everything else has been consistent. So let's see what happens, and I'll show you what happens after we refrigerate it for a while, and that's the one we're going to use tonight. Not even quite sure what to call it because it's kind of cheesecake, but also kind of cakey. So it's a combo sort of fusion dish. I also don't add enough sweetener to it because I don't care for a lot of sweetener, and that is what the feedback I had was pretty tasty, could be more sweet. But I did try one earlier in the week with sweetener, and I'll tell you where to add it and how to account for that if that's what you want. Goodness, I see Sharon has joined us, and Raekwon has joined us, Purple Lady, and Susan. Nice to see you guys again. I'll say Happy New Year to everybody. What I have here is 3 tablespoons of cream cheese, softened. It's super soft. And to that, I'm going to add 1 egg. 1 egg with a busted yolk. Then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of, it's Bob's Red Mill unsweetened, unsulfurated coconut flakes, and I actually ground them up just a little bit so that they were more coconutty. They didn't have the small flakes at my store, so you take what you can get and then you work with it. But I like it because it kind of just gives like a little bit of a little texture into, I don't know what I'm going to call it, the cake, the egg cake we'll call it, and it also brings out the coconut flavor just a bit. The next thing I have is 1/3 of a package of the Pina Colada Keto Chow. Now, there it is. If you don't have this, that's all right. You can all go with basically any flavor profile, but you might want to substitute something for the coconut flakes so that it's not overpoweringly coconut flavor. You could use an almond flour, you could use a pork rind crumb, you could really anything with that kind of texture to it. So my keto chow, and I'm going to add into this also my 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Right, there we go. And that takes care of that. And then I have, sorry for the clanking there, 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. So, let's see where we are in the comments here. Oh, Christmas trees just come down. Lots of greetings and hellos. Gigi's here, and hey, J-Dog, nice to see you. So, I wonder where Shelly and Heath are. They're usually, fighting for first. So, you're going to get all of this and just kind of give it a good mush together. I don't know, my cream cheese was really soft. I guess it's cold here at the table, so it's probably for the best, but it takes a couple minutes, and really this part, other than the coconut and the keto chow, should sound very familiar, just like you would for a regular cheesecake base. And in this little bowl here is, if you're going to add sweetener, because you're looking for a sweeter product than what you would get with just the keto chow, this is where I would add it. And you can use any kind of sweetener you want. You could put a dropper of liquid sweetener. You could add in up to 1/4 cup of allulose or swerve blend, or if you've got Boca Sweet, that would work out really well. So, goodness. Oh, let's see. More hellos. Hey, already our first bot, so let's just get rid of that real quick. Remove. Goodness. And hide user. There we go. All right. I guess I wasn't going to be bot free tonight, which I was hoping that they were going to go away because YouTube said they were making strides on reducing that. But it is what it is. So all taken care of. But so anyways, also what I have for my ingredients, I also have 3 egg whites that I've whipped. They are starting to deflate a little bit because they're sitting here, but they're holding on just a little bit. Oh, hey, Hungry Heath. I was just asking if anybody knew where you were, or at least musing that you guys weren't here, because usually you're first on all the streams. So, but you give all of that stuff a good mix, and you can see from my lovely egg yolk, it gets it's still pretty thick, but it turns a nice light yellow. If you have paler eggs, it'll lean towards a lighter color, but all of my eggs are super deep yellow and mostly amber. I get farm fresh eggs, and if you happen to be from the Columbus area, little cheese tried to escape. If you happen to be from the Columbus area, let me know. I have like 2 or 3 different farms who have let me know that all of their chickens are madly producing right now, which is kind of unusual for winter time. So, at any rate, once you have this all mixed up, I'm going to go ahead, and what you do is you start mixing in your egg whites. So it's 3 egg whites, and they're just whipped until stiff peaks. If you really want to make them extra stiff, you can add a little bit of cream of tartar. I almost never do because I am lazy. And so, hey, I'm in favor. He says they were late because they're recording a review video. I'm in favor. I love review videos. So anyways, you always add just a little bit of the egg whites first at a time, and that kind of, it immediately starts lightening up your cheese mixture and starts bringing it in to be a little bit fluffier. And usually a lot of people will go the other direction and add right into the egg whites, and while we're not trying to keep them super inflated, you do want them to be a little bit on the fluffy side. At least not completely blown out, because it really does lighten up the batter when you do that. And that is, between that and the keto chow is pretty much why it becomes more of a cake texture than it does cheesecake. And like I said, because I whipped these ahead of time, so I didn't torture you guys with the electric whip, I thought it would be easier, but they did start to deflate a little bit. And again, because this recipe is very flexible, as long as I had some fluff, it doesn't matter. So, oh, J-Dog, you know, I don't know quite what to call it. It's sort of a cheesecake, kind of a regular cake, very dense sort of thing. It's a hybrid between cake and cheesecake. So, and I'll go over it again real quick once I get this taken care of, because despite the fact that I'm on YouTube, I find it hard to concentrate on a bunch of different activities all at once. So let me get this incorporated. It's there we go. Get rid of this bowl. Alright, so it's I had 3 tablespoons of very soft cream cheese, 1/3 package of pina colada keto chow, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened, unsulfured coconut that I ground up a little bit finer, not all the way to flour texture, but just a little bit gritty. And then I had 3 egg whites and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. I mixed all of the ingredients except for the whipped egg whites into a bowl. And then I incorporated the egg whites. So now I've got this fluffy mixture. So you can see it's a little fluffier than your standard cheesecake and not quite as dense as your regular cake batter. Then I have two 2-cup bowls that I have heavily greased with coconut oil, and you can grease it with whatever you want. I just figured if I was doing pina colada, then I was also going to use coconut oil just to keep that flavor profile across the board. So, let's see. Let me catch up here on some comments. Okay, it's just lots of more hellos. A reminder is to hit the like button. That's certainly appreciated when people do that. I see Cool Kid Keto has joined us. Hey, the Warden, glad to see you here. And more greetings. Oh, Shauna's joined us. Nice to see everybody. So I'll do one more. Happy New Year. And then I'm going to tell you we're going to preheat the air fryer. And I am putting my air fryer on 350 for 10 minutes. And sometimes I take it out a little earlier, but I'm just going to get that preheating and let you know that now you just divide this batter into 2. If you are like super worried about it and measuring, you should absolutely weigh as you put it into the containers. And I have exercised quite heavily today, and I'm actually actively hungry right now, so I am not worried about it. But you do want them to be kind of even just for the whole baking factor. And if you find one of them is a little full, you can move it back and forth, easy to do. Just give me a pause here to get the rest of it out. And then just sort of take it and give it a little bit of a pat through to even it out. And just talk amongst yourselves while I finish that out. Anyways, so yeah, so now you just sort of even it out so it's even in here. Your last little bits of batter before you put your spatula in the refuse area. Wipe off your hands. Give a little tap down. And I just need that to preheat. I should have done it a little bit longer. So let me take a look here at the comments. So, okay, yep, so right where Shauna joined us. Just lots of greetings tonight. You guys. Oh, and Hungry Heath is eating ribs. I love ribs. I'm not kidding today when I said I am hungry right now, and honestly, it's a good thing that I'm not right by the fridge, because I might have to take a pause and I'll be like, I don't know if I want cake. I want sausages and cheese. Probably because I looked in the fridge a little while ago and I saw the smoked sausages that we got at the Grandpa's Cheese Barn, and of course, you know, I've got, you know, some new cheeses to taste, and it's all calling to me. I'm a really big savory fan though, so you'll get that out of me. So while this is preheating, what's everyone up to this week? Have you had a lot of... You know what? Hungry Heath is giving me flack for talking about things that aren't coffee. And listen, coffee talk does not have to mean coffee. It means chat around the table, and we all like food sometimes, so we can do some baking as well. So, but we can talk a little bit about the coffee, and I'm going to get my water going. Let's see. I don't want it to be too hot, and while I talk to you about that, we'll wait for the air fryer to finish preheating. I'm going to remind you that we've actually used the Aeropress before, but this time we're going to use it different. If you weren't here for the first Aeropress, I'll go over it real quick. It's a single cup brewer, and it is a portable brewer. It's very inexpensive, but it is the genius invention of Alan Alda. If you were around in the 80s and you remember, we had like that little ring. It was called the Aeropress, and it was famous for like flying real far, and everybody, it was just like really, if it had been internet days, he would have been like super viral, but we didn't have that back then. So, but it was immensely popular. So he is a genius engineer, and he came up with this Aeropress, which was a convenient, really good way to brew coffee. So let's see. Oh, Cool Kid Keto says they came home from work and made the egg coffee, and they'll probably have bunless burgers in a few. Burgers sound good too. I think I'm just actually hungry. Hey, Tim has joined us. Nice to see you tonight, Tim. Or this afternoon, because I know a lot of you are on the West Coast. So, genius engineer comes up with this this brewer, and what it is there is a filter, and it comes with, well, you get these little teeny filters that sit in here instead of a cone, and it goes right inside, and it hooks onto the bottom, and then you would put your coffee in here and do your brew method over your cup, and you would plunge this down to brew the coffee. But we are going to use the non-standard method. So I've got my filter here and my brewer, which I'm going to flip upside down. This is called the inverted method, and one thing you do want to do with the inverted method is prep your filter, and by doing that, I just mean you pour some hot water on it, give it a good, let it get good and moist, and just set that there for a minute, and let that get good and saturated. You don't always have to prep your filters, but for certain brews, it's super helpful. Any pour over coffees, you always want to do that. And the reason you do that is because it helps open up the fibers, whether it's a cloth filter or paper filter. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but it went from being a regular paper, you can see now that it is almost translucent. And that's definitely what you're looking for when you prepare a filter ahead of time. Now I'm going to lean forward and wipe some water off my laptop. There you go. So, not Alan Alda, Alan Alder. So, but let's see. Oh, and Jujubee is giving it right back to Heath. That's how we show our love on this channel and in some of our other favorite channels. The more flack you get, it's because we love you. So, anyway, so let's see. Oh, and Susan B is saying it's difficult because of all the cold and how slippery it is out. Yeah, it's been rough here. Oh, my air fryer has heated up, and we're down to the 8-minute mark, which is actually just about right. So, you would just throw these in the air fryer. And you'll see this a lot, but my air fryer is the Instapot Omni Plus, and boom, we'll have a cake thing in a few minutes. And a special, let's see. So back to this inverted method. So tonight, my coffee is a Guatemalan Antigua that I have ground to it's not medium, but it is right on the verge of fine. There you go. So you can kind of see what it's at. It's finer than what you would get out of a canned coffee, so no, you really couldn't use a canned coffee. Let me get my scooper. And here, even though the brewer's upside down, that's what happens here with the inverted method. We're putting it and we're placing all the coffee in essentially the top of the brewer instead of the bottom. I just know I'm going to spill coffee everywhere. Shockingly, I did not. By the way, you guys, I'm making a ton of dishes tonight, and it's just killing me a little bit because our dishwasher broke. So we made the family agreement that we would each wash our own dishes, and so now I'm going to have to wash all the dishes that I make tonight. I know. It's a hard life, right? Anyways, I just want to smell that coffee. It's really nice. So the reason you do this inverted method is it was recently popularized in about 2008. We actually don't know who developed it. There's maybe some contention, but 3 years after the Aeropress came into the making is when this inverted method started making a lot of headway and when people got really excited about it. And then fast forward all the way to 2018 at the World Aeropress Championship, Caroline Ibarra, and I can't remember her last name. It's like Garay. I can't ever say it right, so I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. Actually used the inverted method for her particular brew to win the championship. So people love inverted. So, but like all other coffee brews that we've been doing lately, in addition to prepping our filter, we want to bloom our coffee, which is the same thing we were talking about with gelatin. You bloom it, and here's where my scale is going to come in handy. And yes, you could wing it, but coffee is always better when you are very, very precise. So turning that to grams, and you want to put about 40 grams in to thoroughly bloom your coffee. Give it a little bit of a turn. I've done more than 30 grams, but we're going to let it go. And you let this sit for a couple minutes. Give it a little swirl. You wait about 30 seconds, and then this also comes with the Aeropress. It's a little stir. And can I tell you, it smells so great. I also forgot to tell you that the coffee is for the Aeropress is never boiling temperature. It's really low. You want to keep it no more than 100 really, even if you've got a good strong coffee like I do tonight. And I used 25 grams of coffee, but the championship with the inverted, she says 20. Now I will tell you that other people have used more. There's my, it wants me to turn the food, but we don't have to turn little cakes. So, but now more than 30 seconds has passed. You just want to break through that upper crust and give the coffee a bit of an agitation. From there, we're good. And now I finish adding the water. We're gonna remember that we've actually already put the plunger in, so we don't have to account for that. So I wound up with about 160 grams of coffee. And now we take our prepared filter and you snap it in place. It just goes on with a twist. So here we are upside down, and now we wait for about 2 minutes. I can put my scale away now. Let's put it with the rest of the stuff. Now, also my water. I'm very thirsty. So what else have people got going on? So let's see. Oh, and Caboodle Bree has joined us, and oh, I'm glad to hear that. They mentioned that they've got their pump house heater going so that they have water. Earlier, they discovered in another stream, they mentioned that they seem to have frozen the water. So looks like it was the frozen at the barn. I'm glad to hear that you got that resolved without a lot of stress. I know when you have wells that get frozen, it can often be a really big challenge. So That's a huge deal. And the warden mentions they never knew that you could do the inverted method on the Aeropress. And yeah, it's awesome. And right now, before we plunge, I'm going to give it another little swirl and agitation. It's kind of the nice thing. Oh, and Cool Kid Keto is asking about what a meat cookie is. Meat cookies are burger patties. I just think we like calling them meat cookies. I know it got popularized as a meat cookie on a carnivore channel. I don't remember which one, but it did make me crazy initially, but now I really enjoy it. Anyways, my coffee is really wanting to be plunged because it's making little droplets as it's expanding. So I turned it over into, I have so many towels. I've turned it over. You can see even a little bit of it is escaping into my cup. And you just start applying pressure. Not hard pressure. You don't want to be pounding through into it. Just enough that you make it flow through. Now, I did use a good bit of coffee. So depending on the strength, because that is something you can use with the Aeropress, it does tend to get pretty strong. But I actually prefer that. Just going to give it a little more of a squeeze. And I see my cheesecake cakes are done. And my coffee is almost there. There we go. We've hit that. So there we go. And the Aeropress makes a very small amount of coffee. It's a single serve. So, but because of how strong it is, you can either drink it like this at espresso strength, or you can add water to it to make it regular coffee strength. So let me bring these out. Throw that in here. Throw this towel so they don't singe my cloth. One second. There we go. So you can see that they rose up. And let me see if I can grab this for you and show you. They've gotten nice and fluffy. And they're just a little bit jiggly and moist. So it's almost custardy, and so they do have to sit and finish cooling down to solidify. Now, that's the caveat. So far, I think that they are actually better eating them in this custardy form. I mean, obviously they need to cool for a while like that, but when they are cold in the fridge, they shrink down, as you can see, and they get dense. So, I'm not sure if you can see the texture or if the lights reflect off of it too much. Anyways, it's still soft, but it is very dense. It's definitely denser than a cheesecake. It's kind of a cross cheesecake, jiggle cake, pound cake. It's heavy. You're not going to want to eat like a ton of these, and you're not going to feel like scarfing because it's a lot to have down. Now I will tell you about these cakes. One cake, this, is 361 calories. It's 21.8 grams of protein, 3.8 grams total carbs, and 28.6 grams of fat. If you subtract the fiber, it has 1.1 grams of fiber, which makes it 2.6 net carbs. And if you are a ratios person, that means it's 26% protein, 3% carbs, 71% fat. So it's a keto. It's keto. There you go. All right, there's a lot of comments floating by. Let's see. Tim says that has the potential to be very messy. You know, honestly, it's actually really quite solid. And once you get it, you're right, you could really make a mess if you wanted to. one thing I want to show you, well, let me bring this back up, is how easy the Aeropress is to clean. There you go. There's your top. There you go. There's your filter. Plunge down. And there's your coffee cake. A little rinse of the parts and you are done. So yeah, that is part of also the appeal of the Aeropress. It's super easy to manage and to work with if you are outside camping. And Tim, you mentioned that it's a mess. I can tell you, I'm making a mess tonight. I do not know what's with me. I am not usually a messy Marvin, but tonight, boy, I can tell you. Also, I'm not looking for espresso this late at night, so I am going to Americanoize my coffee. I know it sounds like a scary thing, putting watering down your coffee. Trust me, I am not. You could run 3 marathons on that espresso I just made. If you look, you can see it's rich and dark brown. It's not see-through. That didn't make it pale in the least. So, and don't worry if you didn't write down the recipe. I can post it later. Like I said, I still want to work on it some more because it's not perfect. Oh man, you guys, that Guatemalan Antigua is delicious. Done with 21, what's wrong? I don't know why you're making sick faces. I mean, it's seriously strong espresso, so there's nothing wrong with Americano. It's actually a very legitimate and good blend. All coffee is delicious. Just for that, I'm going to keep drinking it because it's really perfect. So, oh, and Cool Kid Keto says one of their pups is watching the live with a lot of, yeah, I've noticed that. My dog and one of my cats really likes watching lives. One of my cats extra especially likes Miriam from Keto Chow. He just thinks she's a great, and sometimes even like pats at the phone and stuff. So, oh, hey Gretchen, nice to see you tonight. And Gretchen mentions that the French press feels like it takes forever to get the grounds out. For reals, I love French press coffee. It tastes fantastic, but it is a lot to clean up. So, at any rate, I'm going to take a quick bite. I love coconut. If you don't like coconut, this is definitely the wrong treat for you. So, but it's good for me. I will tell you that if you do put it in the fridge for overnight, it will come out and it will be really stodgy and stiff. So you have to let it come out and relax and warm back up a little bit. Just to like room temperature, and then it'll be right back to that nice cakey texture. So, well, we really powered through the topics tonight. So, and I just want to show you, I don't know if you can really see how soft it really is. It's very custardy at the moment. Sort of like when you get cheesecakes and they come right out and they're still a little wibbly wobbly in the middle. It's like that. Ren can cook. Oh no, the Aeropress is really fast. You would have patience for the Aeropress. You don't have patience for the French press. I don't know how anybody has French press first thing in the morning. But we actually have just regular old drip coffee first thing in the morning. And then after we've sated that initial, I must have coffee, then we move on and we either have a mocha pot espresso, or sometimes we have our Turkish coffees. In the afternoon is when we'll decide whether to have something fancy like a pour over, things like that. It's really nice because everybody in the house right now is currently work from home. So we can take our lunches collectively and enjoy that kind of time. So, oh, and the warden says they're making a pour over right now using fuel by Rockport Brewing. I haven't tried Rockport coffee, so I might have to give them an order if you're recommending it. So Let's see. J-Dog mentions coffee is life, 100%. Just looking to see at the comments here. Looks like we're good. I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff up earlier while I was chatting away. But honestly, it looked a lot like just general chat back and forth, talking about the winter outside. Man, I was so happy last week when it was like in the 40s and 50s here, and today it's all the way back down to freezing, and tomorrow it's supposed to snow. At least the last time I looked at the weather report. I'm actually hoping the snow has gone away. So, but and then it looked like there was a lot of talk about meat cookies. I'm sorry, I love the novelty of calling my hamburger patty a meat cookie, simply because it's just simple and fun, even though it's really just a hamburger patty. I have to wonder, what if you made them out of sausage? Is it still a meat cookie? Because technically it's meat, and I don't know. We'll have to think about that. No, I actually work with the electric utility company. Unless you're not talking to me. So J-Dog says he has a Keurig and he's happy about it, but also enjoys a French press. But it's a little bit too much for one person. And the warden shares that Delilah, their dog's ears are cold from going outside for a few. Yeah, our dog doesn't like to go outside much anymore. He used to love it, but now he's old and he has arthritis in his knees. So really, we go outside a lot just to use the facilities, and I try to make him exercise indoors so he can go up and down his little dog stairs, and we do try and get active and play and stuff. Oh, the warden says their Keurig's going out. When they use it, they only get half a cup. Oh, have you tried descaling that Keurig? Because I've had that happen in the past. I've also had to replace the needle before. So, oh, and Gretchen Dontreader says we did have snow. They're local to me, so they have the same weather I do. I'm going to take another bite. So, I wanted to talk about why inversion versus the standard brew that comes with the recommendations from the Aeropress. So, as you may recall from the original Aeropress, and if you weren't part of this channel, you know, it's real simple. It's straight up and down. You hook up your filter, you put your coffee in, you bloom your coffee, you add your water, and then you plunge. So super easy. Oh, done with 21. Oh, you're right. I have tried. Mentions that the coffee they sent me was from Rockport Roasters. You know what? I didn't even think about that. You're right, and it is good. I was still associating that with Central Market, and I even said it on the live when I opened it that it was from Rockport Roasters. Oh, what a day. So, yes, dogs have knees. I don't know if I don't really think they have elbows, but they have a lot of joints, and they get, also their toes and pads get impacted heavily by arthritis, as do their hips. Oh, okay, you don't know if there was a snow. Gretchen Dontreader says they're not sure there was a snow. Well, it doesn't matter because I'm not going outside in this cold. I even actually know that since I'm going up to bed after the live, I've already turned my mattress pad on and have it on preheat. So, yep. At any rate, oh yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, so, traditional method. It's very similar to percolation almost, even though it's not perking, because the fluid goes down through and is plunged through the grounds, whereas the inverted method is a full immersion brew, because we're blooming it and then we're steeping the coffee, which gives it a greater, heavier extraction. And Rancan Cook is asking if anyone has tried coffee from Operation Coffee. If you're not on the live and you see this later and you've tried Operation Coffee, leave it down in the comments. I have not tried Operation Coffee. You know, and Gretchen has met my dog Dyson and mentions that Dyson's pretty much insulated with fur except from the knees down. It's true, except for he still gets ridiculous cold. I don't know how a dog with 7 inches of fur gets cold, but sometimes he whines for me to turn on the space heater in my office. I'm telling you, this coffee is good. I still go with the traditional most of the time when I use the Aeropress, but I am not entirely sorry if I want to give myself a good, strong espresso brew for my Americanos or even just for espresso strength. You know, this inverted might sell me. It doesn't escape me that perhaps there's something to say about it when champions are touting the greatness of the inverted brew. But I will say that when we made the regular standard brew with the Aeropress, that coffee was utter perfection, and I am 1000% sold on the original standard, the way it was made, Aeropress brew. So, yep. But this is also a damn fine cup of coffee. And I'm going to have another quick bite, so chat here a little bit. Oh, J-Dog says it's been in the 40s and 50s in Arizona. That's crazy. I can't remember when I lived down in the southwest New Mexico, it ever being that cold. Every like 5 or 6 years, we'd have one day where we'd get a dusting of snow and the whole little town would go crazy about it. And then, but by the afternoon, it would be gone. So, but it was still, and I'm sure that meant that it was plenty cold, but it never really felt like it. And I also saw Christy Davis from Keto Village saying that it had gotten down in the 40s in California too. So that's extra crazy. So last thing that I had to say about the Aeropress, and another reason to really recommend it, is not only its portability, but just as a reminder that it's super easy to get the same brew every time, especially if you're weighing. If you're just throwing stuff in there, maybe not, but absolutely if you are weighing everything, you can get the exact same cup of coffee every single time. So every single time you can have an excellent cup of coffee. It sounds kind of like a little bit evangelistic about it, but it is that awesome. So I got cake on my hand. Let's see. Oh, and Air Frying Auntie is asking if Aeropress is a brand. Yes, Aeropress is a brand. There are a couple other similar devices, and we'll talk about those sometime in the future. But I'll be honest, none of them have ever sold me the way the Aeropress does. I am very much a pro Aeropress person, which is why it's already repeating when we haven't even done a bunch of different brews. Like we haven't even bothered percolating coffee, and we haven't done cowboy coffee, and we haven't done coffee tasting, but yeah, here I am like, no, let's do Aeropress again. And I'll probably sneak it in again. We'll do like Tetsuya's World Aeropress recipe. That one was like a super brew, and I haven't tried it yet. Today, I thought I was being aggressive with 25 grams of coffee. His uses 35. I'm like, I don't even know where you have room for liquid in the Aeropress with 35 grams of coffee. But hey, he won a championship with it, so it's got to be tasty. More talks about storms going down. I'm really glad that we don't have a lot of storm. Yeah, I also haven't made a 2022 Amazon purchase, but I probably will by Friday. We need a couple essentials. So, and I have my subscribe and save. That's what's going to happen. And so that'll hit just before the 10th on my Amazon. Oh, Rancan Cook says Marine Corps coffee was actually varnish remover. So one of my brothers was a Marine, and I will say you are correct. And he brought that coffee home with him because every coffee that he made forever forward, whew, that was some tough coffee to drink. And I probably conditioned me a little bit for some stronger coffees, but whew. I also, on Two Crazy Ketos, mentioned that I might have a little bit of a surprise. And so I do. I think a lot of people here are familiar with Keto Chow. And if you aren't, I'll talk about it just for a second. Keto Chow, which we used in our recipe tonight, which, by the way, these cheesecakes, you can see where they were wibbly wobbly before, now they're not. It's all cooled down and solidified. Keto Chow is a ketogenic optimized replacement meal shake, and you mix it with your fat of choice and usually water, but you can also use unsweetened almond milk or other liquids. They have a huge variety of flavors, many sweet flavors, and some also they have some savory soup flavors, which are nice to cook and bake with. So, but generously, they have some stock that they are going to send me for some giveaways. And the flavors that we will have will be snickerdoodle, strawberry, banana, natural strawberry, eggnog, pumpkin spice caramel, and root beer float. So we will be doing these. Yes, you can use CAWFEE with your Keto Chow, and you don't have to be a ketogenic eater to use Keto Chow. They are very flexible with how you prepare them, and I actually have several nurse friends who, I'm sorry, let me just moderate this. Remove and hide user. So anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, I have a bunch of nurse friends who are hooked on Keto Chow. They love it, and they will usually grab a Keto Chow and have a few other things with it. They are often, because they're not keto, they don't add as much fat. They often have it with the unsweetened almond milk, but they all seem to really love it, and they say that it has made things much easier for them because they're working 12, 14-hour shifts, and it's snack food from the vending machines or something like this, and they have definitely loved it. So I'm going to have this giveaway, and it's going to be 2 live streams from now. It's not listed yet, but that live stream is going to be the Chemex. It's a pour over, and we haven't used one before. So yes, that's surprise number 1, and we should be able to have about 6 winners for that. So we want to maybe get a lot of people to join in. And let me read back in the comments a little bit. Oh, Sheena has joined us, but says they were late because they had a pipe freeze and burst. Oh, that sucks so hard. I'm sorry to read about that. And we just had someone else who mentioned frozen pipes earlier in their well system. It's tough right now in the winter. That's a horrible thing to happen. So. Oh, and Jujubee says Chemex is their dream. Well, we'll do it then. And then Caboodle Bree says, confession time, they made coffee in the Navy filtering through a washcloth just so we could have coffee. It wasn't really serviceable coffee, but we needed coffee and had no filters. Actually, that is not the worst way to make coffee. I mean, hopefully you guys wash the washcloth first, but at some point in the future, I'm going to show you a cloth brew because I have some cloth that some cloth nets that we can use, and you basically put your do your coffee right into the cup. You pour the boiling water over it. You give it a stir. You let it steep, and then you strain it through that netting. So the washcloth is actually a very valid and sensible way to make coffee. If it wasn't serviceable, it was probably more because of the environment that you had to make the coffee in and the lack of precision with your water temperatures and coffee grinds. So, yeah. You know, if he broke, Jujubee mentions their husband may have broken their Chemex, or at least that seems like the implication to me. And let me tell you, if he broke it, then he has to buy you a new one. So you could get another Chemex, or you could get a V60. You could, you know, and just tell him, hey. So, yeah, lots of different things. Let's see. J-Dog says his sister's a nurse in Wisconsin, and she's been using Keto Chow and has shared with others. Lots of them in her office have gone keto. Yep. So I don't know if Chris and Miriam have noticed that they've started to get like a big nurse following. So, oh, and Sheena says what they wouldn't do for an espresso right now. Boy, you should have been here earlier before I Americanoized my super strong Aeropress coffee. That would have done it. So, and don't think Keto Chow's my only surprise tonight. Even though we're a small little channel and we'll be giving away like 6 Keto Chow prizes, I also have been talking to my friend Bill from Flatiron Pepper. And what I've got here to give away from Flatiron Pepper is a duo here. They've got their Sweet Heat chili flakes, and this one, the Sweet Heat, is Scotch bonnets, ancho peppers, and red bell pepper flakes. I'm telling you, this is a great one. It's a very nice seasoning to throw in with like your ground beef. It is also really good on soups. So I'm excited to give this one away. Even though there's like, oh, give some free product away into my cabinet. But no, I will actually give it to you guys because I really believe in their product. They don't add anything crazy to it. It's just chili flakes. Now this does have other stuff. The other one is one of their seasoning blends. Their seasoning blends were new in late 2021. And this seasoning blend is roasted garlic, chipotle peppers, and toasted onion. So this is the other one. This is a singular giveaway. And so, yeah, those are my 2 major surprises for tonight. I have one more item, but it's not going to be until much later. I wanted to take care of these 2 items first. So those were my big surprises for tonight. I don't think anyone's really sorry about getting Keto Chow, so I really hope that we can push through, get the channel up to 200, which, by the way, only needs 10 more subscribers, and really make that nice. Oh, that's right. I've given some of the Flatiron Pepper to Hungry Heath and the Warden, but I gave them the really hot stuff, the I Can't Feel My Face. And then I believe I gave them one of their Asian red blends. So, but just to leak a little bit, if we ever make it to 500, which I have a hard time seeing that, but other things have happened. It's not a coffee machine. But one of the things that someone noticed from corporate, I guess they have social media people who notice when you mention online, and I guess they double check they're not getting any bad press. Nespresso did write me a note and said, hey, we've noticed your coffee channel. I didn't have a heart to say I'm not a coffee channel. We just like coffee on Sundays and every other day of the week. But They said, we heard you say that Nespresso makes a good cup of coffee, and we appreciate that. So I do have a little something from them, but no, it's not a coffee machine. And we'll take a look at that, but I'm gonna wait because it is a fairly nice giveaway. So I would like to have a few more people have that opportunity for it. So yeah, I don't know. Already, it doesn't seem that fast to me. And Sheena's asking if she missed the jiggly cake. Yeah, and it's not really quite jiggly cake. It's like a hybrid between the cheesecake and the jiggle cake. I'm gonna pull this out now. Oops, tore it a little bit because I'm not as careful as maybe you might ought to be. Just to show you now, as you can see how much it sunk down from when I first pulled it out. And maybe, there we go. A little bit of the steam coming off of it, but you can see the underside maybe. Well, maybe not. I think it's a little too pale yellowy to look good on the camera. Oh, a little bit of cheesecake leaked out of it. So there you go. My heart's broken. A little custard got on my hands. Oh no. So it is very soft and custardy, and as it cools overnight, it'll get cheesecakey, solidy, but it has that dense pound cakey, jiggly cakey, thick cake sort of feel to it. So that's why I keep calling it a hybrid. So yeah, it's very tasty. It's just, I don't know what to call it because it's kind of its own weird little hybrid thing. Part souffle. I don't know. So oh, I don't know who Catmandu is, but they said they switched to one of their other accounts and subscribed. And thank you. That's really sweet. Know that you don't have to do that, but I really do appreciate it. Oh, and Sheena's Ketovore Life says at least they got a video up before their pipe busted. I'll have to go and check that out. I subscribed, but I haven't gotten to watch through a lot of the videos yet because it's been so insane. Also, that reminds me, I want to be very transparent about next weekend. Even though I'm going to be doing the live stream, I'm a little bit concerned about how it's going to go because I probably should cancel it, but I just refuse. I love these live streams. They are such life, but I am on a deployment. This deployment starts Friday at noon and it's going to go until Monday until we are done. And so, you know, everybody has to sleep sometimes, but when we do these big re-platform projects, a lot of times we sleep in shifts of like 2 hours here and there. When we used to do these re-platforming type of projects, we used to get a hotel room where it would be like, okay, and someone would tap out and go sleep for, you know, like 2 hours, take a shower and come back. And now we're at home, so it's like you just sort of collapse in your office chair for a couple hours and take a nap. And I gotta say, I'm a little bit nervous as to how I'm gonna do a live stream during this sort of process, considering that we will have been going on, it'll be day 3, hitting at 6:30 at night when everything has been, you know, I'm gonna be a little bit crispy. So, should be interesting. And then and of course, when I was planning these live streams out, maybe I should have just made it shorter and done something simple like a different pour over, or even, you know, so that something that we're already familiar with. But no, I pick a complicated brew that requires spices and special little pots. What was I thinking? J-Dog, yes. When you are doing a 4-day deployment, we encourage people to take enough of a break to go shower. That's the other thing, though. I'm not sure. It's like both better and not better at the same time. that we can do these things remotely, because I'll have control of all my food because I'm eating at home. But when we used to do these, as grueling as it was, as the project manager, I did like that we were able to take care of everybody. I used to order in food for people, and because I was in control of it, while we did have carbs, there was no way I was allowing my developers to just be having crappy pizza. So it still might not have been the best, but I used to order like a big Chipotle buffet, so you could have your salad and some vegetables and grilled meats and all of the other stuff. And some people, gosh, I don't know why I'm getting so many bots. Just crazy on that. Remove. And hide user on the channel. Just ridiculous. But you know what? This time we've only had 3 so far, and last week we had like 10, so it was ridiculous. So, oh, and Raikwen says more like Spacey. He's done. Oh yeah, and have done those type of installs. They're hard. Yeah, and this is one. I got to admit, I'm really worried about it, because I feel like because we were kind of gap filling along the way, like it's just been everything on a shoestring, and it has been so intense. But we are doing a huge undertaking, and I'm really nervous that we're missing somebody important or we forgot something, because it's just, man, 3 years in the making, and it's gonna go, and I am super excited about that. It is like a crown jewel to my parting from my current department while I transition to a new job, so it'll be exciting. Let's see. Oh, and J-Dog mentions, I remember 24-hour programming projects when he was a computer programmer. It could be a couple days before we could do that. Yep. So you guys know. So it's just your fair warning. You'll know it's going to be crazy. Hopefully I don't, burn my desk down. That would be bad. But it should be great. And I tell you, Cafe Deola is going to take me back in time to childhood times with my grandparents. So it should be a really nice, even if it is going to be extra crispy. So. And Susan mentions, sounds like conversion weekend when they've acquired other brokerage firms. It's on par with that. So yeah, and Sheena says offers prayers to make sure everything goes smoothly. Yep. On the small deployment that we had a few months ago, oh my gosh, I have to say, I'm going to say something nice about Microsoft, and it just pains me a little bit, but we had to call their black belt to do an emergency patch while we were mid-upgrade on a system, and I was shocked. I was like, for sure we were going to have to do a back out, and we told like all of the VPs and everybody like, uh-oh, hey, but not our fault. It was something in the infrastructure from Microsoft. And we honestly, even though we have, you get contracts with big companies like that, but you don't expect them to really be as responsive as they were. Within the hour, they had already, their black belt team responded and fixed it. Super cool. So, talk about being dingy. I'm not even tired today, and I almost lost my coffee, setting it to the side. Who knew? At any rate, I don't have like a whole lot tonight because we're redoing the Aeropress, but some people came in late, so if there's something specific you want me to talk about again or repeat, now is the time to say so. And then if you have any other questions or questions about something else or requests for things, now is the time so we can talk about it before we end in just 20 minutes. So, oh, and that's a good thing to remember. We actually have other YouTubers here in our same genre that are part of our family here. So don't forget the Hungry Heath channel. They have a Friday night live stream where they cook awesome food. It's super delicious, and you get to acquire the recipes and build your own skills. They also have quite a lot of ongoing stuff where they do product reviews, and they've been preparing people for going on a cruise, all kinds of really cool stuff. And new to me and new to here, we've got Sheena's Ketovore Life. And so far from the videos I've been able to watch, it's pretty awesome. I'm really enjoying it, so I'm looking forward to powering through those. Of course, we can't forget our beloved Two Crazy Ketos. They're the reason a lot of us found each other here. Watch Autumn Keto, or really the Weathers channel now, and Keto Chow. Of course, the people who are sponsoring our awesome giveaway. So, and we'll be doing that giveaway again in 2 weeks from now on the Chemex, which I will get listed up soon. So, Rancan Cook says he can appreciate what we're going through next weekend, that he retired from the state of Oregon as part of his career as a project manager. Yes, so. And then Gretchen Dontreader says a person said GE just to confirm if they meant Giant Eagle. Are those little round filters easy to find? The Aeropress filters, yeah, they're pretty easy to find. You can buy them at like Target and Walmart, and actually the best deal you'll get for them is Amazon. So I will also say there's some other filters for the Aeropress, and they've got some that are double filter, so you can get all kinds of stuff. And Susan says they're going to miss Autumn's and Keto Chow's live streams Wednesday to Friday because they have to facilitate training. Oh, training. I had to do a bunch of training this week, and I can tell you, I procrastinated till the very last minute. And my boss was giving me crap about it. He was like, really? Every single time? Why do you wait till the very last minute? What if something goes wrong? And I always tell him, well, we're busy. And I said, and I don't know what it is. I just, I have such a hard time making myself sit there and focus. And I especially have a hard time doing it when it's really boring and completely irrelevant. At no time do I ever feel that I'm going to be in a situation at my place of work where I have to handle asbestos. Yet every quarter I have to do an asbestos safety training. I don't have the foggiest idea why. I feel like there ought to be an exemption for it, but it is what it is. And Pam says they've subscribed to Sheena's YouTube, so that'll be awesome. And Zaffo Bibelbrox mentions that if Autumn has multiple channels, why shouldn't all of us, right? Well, that's true. I've wondered about that because I've been talking about the CAWFEE, and then, when you talk about keto stuff and reviews, one thing that I haven't been doing lately is the exercise part of the channel, which I really wanted to talk about more. I'm really excited about exercise, and see, now I'm going to go off on a tangent at the last here. I'm more than ever more interested in exercise for people who are very beginners. I love that a lot of the workouts that get shared with our groups, that a lot of the trainers and the fitness people, because we have multiple coaches and stuff, a lot of them are people like me who've already gotten to goals, or they were fit when they started. And it's not that their workouts aren't good. They're amazing. But I feel like when they say, don't worry, this workout is easy and you can modify the moves and they're going to be super, and then anybody can do them, I look at them and I feel so disheartened because I feel like at this point in the stage, I'm fairly advanced, especially since I'm taking classes and doing things to become a fitness trainer. And sometimes the workouts, I'm like, I can't do this. It's too hard. And I think if I can't do this and it's too hard and they're telling me this is a beginner workout, what is this even? So, but in the classes that I've been taking, because I've been taking the courses that are modified for people with disabilities and people with mobility issues and people who can't move, it's been different. It's been very eye-opening that even when I thought I was being very sensitive, it wasn't quite there. So I really think that that was part of, I don't know, it was just, I just feel like we're missing a piece that could really benefit some of our community. And yeah, and Sheena's Ketovore mentions you also have to have watch time, or the subscriptions in and of themselves are not as helpful. That's also true. Watch time is really critical. That's why we tell people a lot that if you want to help out some of your favorite streamers, make sure you watch their video the whole way. There are some streamers that I super love, but I like to skip on their stuff, so sometimes I'll put them on and just let it run. So JujuB2407. Okay, so beginner workouts. So the very first live stream I did, well, not the very first, because we did a Twitch stream. The very first live stream, I did one where it was only chair workouts, and we went through some of the moves that you could do just while you were sitting. They were super gentle, and I would love to get down into it, and I'd really like to see if I could help us. Plus, so I also think about too, I remember my own journey. I try to remind people frequently, although not always successful. And a lot of times people see how almost extreme that I am now. So it's hard for them to envision when I was at the beginning of my journey and walking 3 houses down to the corner of my block was too much. So I think about things like I've got a new friend that I've met, and he's doing some really cool stuff, and he actually has a business where he does walking, and some of it's a little bit too much, but he does things where, hey, let's walk 500 steps today, let's walk 1,000 steps today, let's do a little dance today. And to me, I know that these are achievable things to do if you haven't been exercising before. Another thing that happens a lot in some of our channels and some of our Facebook groups is people say things like, well, cardio is completely useless, so don't even bother. Wow. I'll never tell you not to do cardio. Will I tell you that eventually if you want to do body recomposition, that you need to do the I forgot what I was saying mid-sentence. Yeah, so anyways, if you want to move and if you want to recompose your body, yes, you are going to have to do some weightlifting and some strength training. But when you first start out, and yes, it's true that cardio is not effective the same way strength training is. Yes, it's true that strength training is going to help you more with fat burning. But when you are just first starting out learning to move, cardio has its place. It has its place in teaching you how to get started and how to move, and just doing a little bit. You got to start somewhere. So I really do get very upset sometimes when people say that. And Done with 21 says, cardio is not useless. I've had coaches try to get me away from it too, but it won't happen. It's also for your sanity. I'm sorry. I will never ever tell people cardio is useless, and it may even be like a rant video in the near future. I don't know. I'm really riled up about it. So, I mean, it's something that, you can only do so many things. And like this weekend, I was able to do a couple cooking videos. So right now I'm kind of cooking heavy, and I feel like all of these things have space. So maybe in the future, it'll be worth it to break it into multiple channels. But right now I'm small, and I feel like we can share all of these topics. But it really cheeses me off when fitness experts talk down to you. So, and Susan, that's fine. If you don't like it, that's also true. But walking and riding your bike 15 to 20 minutes is still beneficial to you. So that's my tangent for the moment. I really want to make sure, though, that I reach people that don't traditionally get reached. And I also see now, and then Gretchen mentions that they worked from home for over a year and hardly did any activity outside of the apartment. So when they finally went back to the office, it was very exhausting. That's something that has happened to a lot of people. And so I definitely want to reach out about that too, because one of the things that we've talked about in my classes so far has been helping people through stuff like that. Mobility limited individuals are often homebound, so you need to develop stuff so they can do things within a confined space, especially if they are in an assisted living situation where they may have only a small studio. So they're not going to do like I can, where they can build out half the basement into a gym and half the basement into a studio and then have storage space over there. They don't have that. So and I see other people also commenting both ways. I love cardio, it keeps me motivated, or I find it important. I don't like cardio, my body doesn't like it. And that's exactly it. You have to find what works for you. And I'm not saying you can only, jump in and do cardio all day, all the time, because if you do that, your body is going to get some fatigue. And no, you're not going to gain muscle. You will lose some fat, but also it has different impacts than strength training. It's different, that's all. Different isn't useless. So let's see. I tried, and also J-Dog says he likes walking distance, but has to be careful because he gets foot blisters, and when you're diabetic, that can be problematic. Definitely. I see that Done with 21 has replied to that about checking out Right Socks. Right Socks are good, and also Bombas. Bombas cost a fortune, but they are super good, and they super stand by it. They also give a pair of socks to charity for every pair bought. And Exchange Student is verifying giveaways in 2 weeks' time. Yes, there's no way I can manage a giveaway next week, but in 2 weeks when we're doing the Chemex and the pour over, it'll be a perfect timing to do the Keto Chow giveaway. Also gives Keto Chow time to get product to me. So it should be very exciting. Boy, look at how I set myself off. I just went on an exercise tear there. Sorry, guys. So, J-Dog, when you wear the Bombas and you're doing the walking, you're still getting blisters? Then definitely look at the Right Socks. Also, do you have compression socks? Compression socks are very thin, but they really, because of the material they are and the wicking that they do, they also help with the blistering. But yeah, Done with 21's recommendation on the Right Socks and their multi-layers, they're a good one to go for. So. And Done with 21 says because they're dual layered, the layers rub together so that it stays stagnant on your skin. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and J-Dog shares that Patty and himself works with a charity that receives Bomba socks. They give the socks to the needy, and So they had me go and buy their products. That's awesome. I love that because one of the weird things that I do sometimes is I like to take stuff out to where some of our homeless camps are and just dump it off there so that people can have access to it. And I will tell you, no one is ever sorry about receiving socks. They all really could really use them. Dumping off coats, especially little kids' coats, because homeless kids need coats and they are harder to come by. The other thing that I leave a lot of are can openers because they get lost or broken or worn out easily. And periodically, once a year, we have one camp that doesn't move around, and the police haven't really given them a good shake up in a couple years, so that's really good. As I've had like a quarter quart of wood delivered to their camp, and those are good things to do. So it really helps. Occasional tarps too is nice. Oh, and J-Dog says all his socks are compression. He doesn't wear non-compression socks. He wears Asics shoes, so they're meant for running and walking. That's awesome. My shoes need replaced. And I hate shoe shopping. I am never happy with my shoes. And it seems like when I do find a pair that I like, and they are great, then they don't last the length that I would like them to. So it's an ordeal every time I go and have to buy shoes. So I've had a pair of Hoka, and they were great. They were fantastic, just the best, but they only lasted me for 6 months. I like Asics, but they are the same too. They also wear down pretty quick, but they actually are pretty good for me because they provide the kind of support I had. I've had 3 strokes, and the strokes impacted my cadence. So I know a lot of people who love some lighter shoes, and I can't do it because then I fall down a lot. Whatever. Okay. So, but I actually really like good, strong, firm shoes, and I really like when my foot is squeezed up nice in my cycling shoes. So I'm sort of kind of thinking that I might try a new shoe for me. Specialized has a running sneaker that has the BOA fastener. So instead of laces, it has the cinch down, and I'm thinking I might give those a try. Yeah, I hate cold feet. In addition, thanks strokes and everything else that happened, I have Raynaud's syndrome, which is impacted by the cold. So I actually have socks that I sleep with. They're sleeping socks, and they're currently missing in action, so I have to buy a new pair or just find out where the heck I put them. The last time I had them was Ketapalooza, so I wonder if they got left behind in Kentucky. But I have little cotton sleeping gloves that help keep my hands warm at night. So those are super interesting. And then Susan says they wore Brooks when they were running, but they went to the running store to get fitted because they have small feet. Susan, that's my problem too. I have small feet. I'm a size 5 in American sizes. So a lot of shoes actually don't go down to small. So, and Done with 21 says that the best thing I can do is get an actual gait analysis done at a running and try shop. That's actually spot on, and I have done that. And so we've had that. I've also had some custom shoes, and those shoes cost me a fortune. And again, 6 months later, they were useless. So I'm not paying for custom shoes that aren't any better than some of the average shoes. So, and then, and Juju B says they wear men's wide Brooks size 7 because most women's shoes aren't wide enough. Yeah, honestly, I've never found gender to be the right metric for shoes. It never made sense to me because bodies are so widely varied that and then Sheena's Ketovore mentions Dr. Brown's shoes for bad back and knees. So I don't know. That's why it's always such an ordeal, and I just go and every year I try on. Oh, and Dunwell 21 says they did actually drop $1,000 on custom inserts, and that it felt like a big waste. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was ridiculous. So I'm like, I don't know. I just would like for shoes to last me at least a year, and also not make my hip hurt. Because of my cadence, that's where I get a lot of pain is hip, and then also the top of my foot. So I don't know. I'm gonna try on like 100 pair of shoes, not like any of them, and then hurt for a while longer until I get so desperate that I buy a pair. But like I said, I'm seriously looking at those Specialized shoes. They've got a really great reputation. The shoes have a good reputation. My doctor says they think that they're good. So if I'm gonna buy shoes, I may as well. But I want to try them on for the afternoon and see. I will say they're butt ugly, but you do what you gotta do. So, boy, I derailed this coffee talk, man. We didn't talk about coffee, but half the time. But I sure did drink it, and it's delicious. Oh, and then Sheena's Ketovore says they've had a planner done with 21 using a rolling pin on the side of their foot. It hurts, but it works. Yeah, actually, if you have a plantar fasciitis, they actually make like a ball that's very similar to a tennis ball for that. And then they have braces that you wear at night that keeps your foot flexed. And that will help stretch out the tendons and eventually give you relief. So, oh, and the warden says they hate shoes and wish they could go barefoot everywhere. I'm the exact opposite because of the problems with my cadence and all of the weakness in my leg. I hate being barefooted. Everything hurts so bad. But that's, again, I have special circumstances. So if you have special circumstances, you run with it. I'm just trying to think of any last minute things to tell you before we go next week. I kind of want to do something because we have a lot of people following carnivore or BBBE, and I've been craving savory way more than sweet lately. I want to do a recipe with the coffee. I've kind of had like a lot of eggs lately, and I don't know if people find that too much of the same. But I mentioned in the souffle video, someone was talking about the fact that they were doing BBBE, and I told them, make a frittata. No, I do not. And Gretchen Dontrender says, we won't fight over coffee because I mentioned not liking hazelnut. 100%. I do not like hazelnut, and I will, we might fight about it because if you bring a hazelnut coffee around me, I'm probably going to complain about the smell. I really hate it. I don't know why. But yeah, so I was wondering if I make a frittata, mini frittatas next week, if anybody would be getting tired of all my egg recipes. Oh, Ren Can Cook, it was you. I knew it was someone. But if you guys don't mind another egg recipe, I would love to do that frittata because just thinking about it now, I'm thinking bacon and sausage and all the deliciousness into a frittata would be fantastic. And because so many of our subscribers and the people in our groups are doing BBBE protocols or carnivore protocols, and they're great for keto when you're dairy free. I was thinking it might be nice to do a frittata. I never tire of eggs. I'm gonna be really sad if one day I suddenly get like egg aversion. All right then. I think it's frittata or meatballs, miniature meatballs. I'm not sure which yet because I've been wanting both. So one or the other. Sounds perfect. Oh, frittatas, it's true. Oh, I am forgetting that I'm going to be busy, but that's all right. Frittatas are super easy, and they're even extra easy in the air fryer, so that'll be perfect. All right, sounds good, and we're at 8 o'clock, so I will see everybody well, maybe I'll see everybody tomorrow. I know I'm going to miss the morning live stream for Keto on the Couch because I'm going to be in my 9 to 11 meeting and preparing for the end of the week's deployment. Lots of stuff. So I'll see you guys later. Happy New Year, everybody, and I'm glad you got to join the live stream and we had a lot of fun conversation. All right, air fryer frittata it is. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.